I thought about doing one review and then the other. And I said, fuck this. I'm just going to do, since this is a Zack Snyder DCEU night, and of course, there were two movies that debuted. One was in a theater, and then 45 days later on HBO Max or Max. And then the other one is strictly on Netflix, not in theaters. It was in theaters for a limited release, I think, overseas. Came out the 15th, and then it came out the 21st. So, the first one that came out was Aquaman, and then the second one would be Zack Snyder's, or we call it Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, Part 1. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go over my letter grade really quick. Then I'll go into my feelings about it, which will include spoilers. I will do that for the first one, and I will do it for the second one. All right? So that's how we're going to do it. And here is our first movie. And it is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And I felt that overall, well, let me go ahead and give the letter score right now. A solid B. There it is. Hold on. We'll get that letter score right. There it is. Fucking B. And why did I give it a B? Because I didn't think this movie, one way or the other, really made an impact, and yet it should have. There were so many things wrong with it. Notably that the two Batmen, Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, are nowhere to be seen in this movie. They took it out. I don't know if it was ever shot. Definitely there was a script, and there might have been some concept art, but not any final cut or any near final cut of the two Batmen, which would have led to a crisis on Infinite Earths of some type, which would have undone everything and rebooted the universe, respectfully. Instead of disrespectfully, that's been happening here. Okay. I was thinking about on the way home, they should James Gunn should make his own Magic 8 Ball. That way, when the nerds can't find James Gunn on Twitter, what they just do is they shake James Gunn's plastic head and they say, Magic 8 Ball, James Gunn, will this character appear in this movie? Signs point to yes. Outlook not so good, okay? And James Gunn doesn't even have to use like superheroes. He can just like make his own merchandise and just he pockets his own money. So what's the point? It's just asking James Gunn questions, and he feeds the nerds, the idiotic nerds, whatever they want to hear, because he feels that most of the nerds are complete idiots. I'm not a complete idiot. I don't give a shit about your movies. Anyway, let's stay on this continuity for a moment, because this is a 10-year-old continuity here. We started from Man of Steel, and we went from that to Batman v Superman, to Wonder Woman, to Justice League, then the first Aquaman movie, Shazam, Birds of Prey, skipping Joker, skipping Batman, that's a whole separate universe. We got into Blue Beetle, and The Flash, and then this movie, the sequel to Aquaman. Last time we saw Aquaman, he was in his own puddle of filth. But that's in The Flash's own machinations, right? This is a whole separate thing, which is confusing. I mean, we're trying to look at this as a sequel to the first movie and not a sequel to The Flash, right? And this was not a movie that I felt, this was not an Aquaman story. Aquaman's story was done. He became a father. You will see Amber Heard. You'll see, I mean, in contrast to the first movie, you're seeing maybe like 70% less Amber Heard. Okay? So about 3/10 of what you would see in the first movie, you see her. It's kind of like when Natalie Portman was in Revenge of the Sith, but she had very little to do but die. This one, Amber Heard just kind of gives lip service. I read somewhere on Wikipedia that she had to fight to get more time. Now, this is the thing. I mean, the divorce settlements between her and Johnny Depp were affecting the production of the movies. So I do feel bad for Johnny Depp, but this is going to be a hard lesson, mate. You can't marry these women anymore. You got to have one woman for every day of the week now. You can't do it. You can't do it respectfully. So anyway, do I like Mira's appearance in the movie? I'm okay with it. Okay. Because in the end, she's not my problem. Even though she made money off of my movie tickets, that's fine. She's in England. She can do whatever the hell she wants. because it all doesn't matter. And Zack Snyder would have kept her on anyway with a British accent. Hello, it's me, Mira. Yeah, Zack Snyder would have kept her on. That's just the way it is. um, I think James Wan did a good job. This was a movie about all the elements of Atlantis, all the elements. So you got Aquaman, you got Dolph Lundgren as the other king, you got the Crab Kings. We didn't see the mindless mer people, the ones that attacked Aquaman and Mira the last movie. We didn't see them again. But we did see other factions of the Aqua tribes, Aqua kingdoms. Was it supposed to be 7 or 8 kingdoms? Okay, this is the Lost Kingdom. That if you watch the extras on the Aquaman DVDs, Dolph Lundgren talks about the mysterious seventh or eighth kingdom that was mentioned in the first movie but never shown until we get to this one. And you have this sort of evil king spirit. I thought it was going to be a really good Black Manta movie, and in some ways, I like what Black Manta had set up, but I didn't care about him as much as the first movie. Um, Black Manta became sort of this straw man bad guy with not a whole lot going on. I mean, there was not, okay, so his father's dead, and he doesn't have much to live for except making a better suit, and he had a heavy female, and this female, very attractive, sort of second in command. She's loyal to the end, fighting for Black Manta, but I didn't care about her either. The only person I might have cared about the most was Orm, the Ocean Master, and he gets his full redemption arc here. He gets his full redemption in the form of just doing right by his brother, doing right by. Oh, Volko's dead. That's because of scheduling conflicts and having enough money, then just spending the money on more CGI and not putting in William Dafoe. So William Dafoe is not in this movie, so Volko's dead. Okay, that's I guess. I guess they wanted to give Nicole Kidman more to do. I guess that was the logic. Yeah. So this movie, this is the other thing too. Okay, so at the end of the movie, Black Manta's ass is handed to him. He falls into a deep crevice in the ocean. Let the pressure of the ocean kill him, I guess. Black Manta's dead. Unless, of course, somehow they do another Aquaman movie and his son is in the movie, I guess. Because remember, Black Manta has a son we call Aqualad, so that's kind of a cool tidbit there in case you never knew. Um, but other than that, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the only time you ever care about Black Manta. I guess if they introduced his son, Aqualad, in this movie, then you would have cared about Black Manta more. But, doesn't happen that way. I mean, you can only put so many elements in this, okay? You got Atlantis, you got Orm, you got the different tribes, you got a sand tribe, you got the crab people, the poor crab king got his claw cut off twice. So there's a lot of things. There's a little bit of trust between Dolph Lundgren and Patrick Wilson's character, the Ocean Master. So there's trust between the two, and it's a good Ocean Master story. I think the two buddy cops. Like it is the movie you think it is with Aquaman and Ocean Master. Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson, who played the president of the United States in the Batman v Superman movie. It's a good buddy cop movie. There's a lot of predictable beats like giant creatures on the Lost Island, like in King Kong, or Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, or the Kong Skull Island movie. Every movie where you see big insects on an island. So many predictable beats. That's why it's a B. I can't give it higher than that. I would have given it. You know when I was going to give it higher? At the end of this movie. Atlantis, after Black Manta is defeated, because this whole thing is about, what is it called? Calcium? Oh, calvicum? Some sort of green sludge that is used for energy resources. It's like the nuclear energy found underwater. And so Black Manta's trying to harvest all this green energy. And he has this trident of a dead king so he could kill Aquaman. My favorite line, though, is where he says, Ocean Master, Black Manta says to Aquaman the first time they fight in this movie, uh, first you take the king's throne and you take his girl? Shame on you. That's my favorite line in the whole movie. But at the end of this movie, Atlantis is revealed to the world, and Aquaman wants to be one of the United Nation delegates, one of the peacekeepers of the world leaders that sits on the chair. Like, so basically, if you ever read the end of Kingdom Come, where you have a representative of Oa and a representative of Nigeria and Asia and Japan and Africa and and Canada, you have world leaders, ambassadors for every country, and so Aquaman would represent Atlantis. So he would sit on the table with other world leaders and discuss and how to keep the peace and all that stuff. It's another country to, I mean, it's a country underwater, but it's another country. Those last scenes where he talks to people around the world, that begged to have the presence of of Ezra Miller, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot. That begged to have the other actors in there, and they just were not there to be seen. That would have been great, just to have the other actors who had been there the whole time as a way of saying goodbye to all the movies that came before. And that was a really missed opportunity. Now, maybe it's because of scheduling conflicts or just really having the money to really put them in there. It is a movie and not a comic book. So you got to, if it was a comic book, yes, you would have seen all the characters from all the movies come together to see Aquaman introduce himself to the rest of the world and become a significant world leader. That would have been a big damn deal. But nope, didn't happen that way. So B for that. And, yeah, if anybody gets this, I mean, will you be disappointed? No. This is a great way to say goodbye. And there you go. So let's go on to the next one. And here's our second. Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, Part 1. Oh, I couldn't wait for this. I mean, after Aquaman, I couldn't wait for this. Oh, close enough to the theme. So it's a lot of droned out notes. So this was, it is going to play off like Star Wars, okay? It is. There's no doubt about it. And what am I going to give? Immediately, I'm going to give the score. It's going to be the same as the other one. Rebel Moon, A Child of Fire, B. Because I felt like it. So the same thing like Aquaman. This was a very straightforward movie. And the lovely Sophia Boutella. I loved her as God, what did we call her before? Not J-Lo. What was her? Jayla. Jayla from Star Trek Beyond. She was fantastic. I didn't see her in The Mummy. I didn't see her with Tom Cruise. But yeah, Jayla. She was amazing as Jayla. And 7 years of Star Trek from 2009 to 2016. And then she appears in the Star Trek movies. And then we go forward another 7 years. And here she is, the star of her own movie. You got Jimon Honso, who was the wizard in the DCEU movies. And he's in this one. You've got Ray. Is it Ray Fisher? Or Ray Parker? I think it's Ray Fisher. Yeah, Ray Fisher, Cyborg. Doesn't last too long in this movie. He doesn't last too long, but he makes a difference in it. So let me give you the very nitty-gritty, the very basic about it. What happens is that, much like Star Wars, you have farmers, you have a rebel, you have an evil military force out in space, like an empire, and it's time to start forming rebels to destroy the empire once and for all. Pretty much. I mean, that's what it is, okay? So you got Nazis in space. You got this sort of second-in-command Nazi guy without a Vader mask and doing the bidding of the great emperor. Now, because of these tropes, and there's a lot of tropes that are so familiar, I'm giving that B. I'm not giving it higher. But from what we saw, it was worth it. Now, we start off with Sophia as a farmer with strange horses and buffalo that are not like our buffalo on our earth. So strange animals, farming for crops, and you have this military enslavement, the enslaving assholes who just take slaves and take people and kidnap people, rape, torture, all that good shit that the evil empires are known for. And so Sophia, what? So the emperor is the she's the daughter. Sophia Bautella's character is the daughter. So she has to fight against her father. She lost her future husband in a war, so she eventually left the army and hid on a farm as a farmer. And so, kind of like the Blues Brothers, you got to get the band together. So that's what she does. She talks to this guy. There's another guy who might be her future boyfriend in the movies. Um, there's a woman with two flaming lightsaber. Well, they can't call them lightsabers, but they're sabers of light. And then there's an Anthony Hopkins type C3PO robot who protects a young girl. Um, there's another person who plays Ray Fisher's right hand lieutenant, right? Maybe his girlfriend, but he dies, so she takes over. Um, there's a couple of other characters too, but you've got about six characters, and the ending to this movie reminds me of Justice League a bit, it has to remind you of Justice League when they all stand together after their first victory against the evil empire. There's hints of like Rogue One when Krennic is fighting Jyn Erso. There's a little bit of that reminds me of. So there's the wizard Shazam, and yeah. So there you got your team of people. There's everybody there. It's great. So a B for this and a B for Aquaman. I would say between these two movies, there's Anthony Hopkins. Yes. Thank you, my dear. There's a nice, almost Frankenstein and little girl scene in this movie. I'm going to say that it was all right. It wasn't great. It could have been done better. I think Zack Snyder has to really impress us for the next two movies. I think that's three movies total, right? And who knows if there's going to be like Rebel Moon TV shows or spin-offs. I think that's the plan. And because it's Zack Snyder stuff and not DC Universe stuff, who knows? He said that he would only do Justice League if they give him the permission to do it. But I think also too, I think that Warner Brothers should have a hands-off approach and let him do what he wants to do. As long as I guess also too that Zack Snyder's Justice League cannot debut in the same month that a DC Comics movie's coming out. So that's probably another stipulation. I think that if that's the case, that would be fair. This is the guy that plays the traitor here. This is the traitor in the movie. But there's some good stuff. I mean, overall, between Rebel Moon and Aquaman, I think it was a fine time. It's not woke. It's not broke. It's not Kathleen Kennedy levels of bullshit. Could it have been better? Yes. I think after this franchise needs to stand on its own 2 feet, not just on Star Wars legs, but on Zack Snyder's legs that he has provided. So, thank you for watching both of these reviews. I was thinking of doing a non-spoiler and spoiler, but I said no. This is Zack Snyder and the DCEU stuff. Let's lump it all together. All right. See you next time. I don't know when that's going to be.